Hello everyone, my name is Rose, and I recently read this book, Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, and if you saw the length of this video, then you will know I have a lot of things to say about it. The only disclaimer I'm going to give is this: if you don't want to hear any sort of negativity or criticism on this book, then just click out of this video. Okay, cool. Welcome humans who do not mind hearing criticism of this book, but also some positives because there were positives. The first section will be non-spoilers, and the rest of the video, which is most of it, will be filled with spoilers. Don't worry, I will make it very clear when the spoilers will commence. So, this book follows a guy named Lincoln who is feeling a bit lost in life, both professionally and in his personal life. The book takes place during 1999 and the year 2000, which, throwback. And the whole story really kicks off when he takes a position as an IT guy at a newspaper, and his job kind of boils down to making sure that the staff of this place aren't stepping out of line by reading their emails. And think of him like IT security. Now, I'm not familiar with the legality of his job, but there it is. Eventually, he comes across two women who are colleagues and also best friends. They have the habit of using their work email to send personal emails to each other, and even when Lincoln decides that he's not going to get them in trouble for it, he continues to read their emails when he knows that he shouldn't, but does so anyway. Just as the back of this book cover states, Lincoln falls for one of these ladies. Alright, now still no spoilers. Here are some pros and cons of this book. Let's start with the pros. 1, it's a quick and easy read. 2, this is more of a neutral thought, but the writing style was fairly simple but clear, which was, I think, fitting for the story being told. It wasn't complex, things weren't overly detailed, the writing style didn't have any sort of special flourish to it, but I don't think that was a bad thing. 3, the pacing was good. It was a little slow at the beginning, maybe the first 30 pages or so, but after that, I had an easy time getting through the rest of the book. It held my attention, that's what I'm trying to say. Number 4, I enjoyed the friendship between the two female leads. They don't put up with each other's bullshit. They are supportive of each other, and it's always nice to see two women who get along in books. Number 5, there's definitely a lot of wit within this book, especially from some of the main characters, kind of on the same thread. I felt most of the characters' voices were distinct, so it made it easy to keep them straight in my head. There were a couple minor characters, throwaway characters really, that I couldn't quite distinguish or really ever remember, but that really wasn't an issue, and it didn't bother me. Overall, I would say the main characters felt whole and complete people, so that's always good. Now the cons of the book, and I will have more to say on this sort of topic in the spoiler section. 1, this may not actually be a con. While I related to some aspects of some of the characters, I never truly connected with any of them. 2, the synopsis of this book states that Lincoln becomes interested in a woman when reading emails, and even from that you can interpret and conclude that some dubious invasion of privacy is taking place. This, of course, ties in with the romance aspect of this book, which, in the end, I did not like. The romance. The romance is a con for me. Number 3. This is more of a nitpicky thing, but there was a particular scene where a character was being blatantly misogynistic, and I just wish that the other character in the scene had called them out on it. I get why they didn't, though, and I want to clarify that I'm not saying that books can't have any form of homophobia, which does also happen in the book, or misogyny. Honestly, that's just not realistic for numerous reasons, nor am I saying that any book that has any amount of either aspect is a bad book necessarily. It's predominantly that one misogynistic scene that I personally wanted the character to be properly called out on it, but Again, I think I understand why it didn't happen. Bummer. Okay, now I want to acknowledge that even knowing the premise of the book, why did I read it in the first place? Well, two simple things. One, I had already read Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and I just wanted to check out another one of her books, and I don't know, this is the first one, I guess, that I came across. And two, I was honestly just curious how this concept would play out. How could a dubious situation turn into romance? Yeah, all right. So now we are at the point where the rest of the video is going to move into spoilers. If you want to stick around for that, cool. The next 19-ish minutes or so is going to be my journey through this book, which I filmed vlog style. Therefore, it's a lot of stream of consciousness, and I learned a valuable lesson on this journey that I had taken on a whim. Less is more. The original footage was 2 hours long because I was commenting like every freaking 5 pages or so. Don't worry, I'm judging myself. So for everybody's sake, I cut that stuff down to under 20 minutes. I have a superpower, very clearly, of talking a lot, and I sometimes need to temper that power. I don't know if I'm doing a good job in this video, but there it is. After that vlog section, I will be talking more coherently about the book, giving some detailed thoughts and all that jazz. Roll vlog footage. What a great start. I didn't even think of how to start this. To be specific, on page 47, when I came across the stuff that I have questions. It was a conversation between Lincoln and his mom, who I don't think has a name yet. In any case, just this entire page. I guess to summarize, it is Lincoln asked his mom, "Do you find Tom Cruise attractive?" And his mom turns around and says, "Do you find Tom Cruise attractive?" And Lincoln seemed to be immediately defensive of being asked if he finds another male attractive, saying, "What, do you think I'm gay?" And that's giving me some homophobic vibes. Like, bro, why are you being so defensive? If a person asks you if you find another male attractive, but I have a strong feeling that he gets these views from his mom, who also in this page is coming across as homophobic and misogynistic. Because where to start? Part of this conversation is Lincoln apparently has not had a girlfriend, I guess, since college. His girlfriend from college, mostly high school and I guess parts of college, I don't know. That hasn't been cleared up. Her name was Sam, and the mother never apparently liked Sam for various reasons. And I guess Lincoln has not dated or had a girlfriend, and I am guessing years, which is totally fine, at least in my eyes. But I guess the mom finds it questionable, and she's concerned that Lincoln hasn't had a girlfriend in such a long time. And the mom was honestly thinking that, oh, if you're gay, that would explain why you haven't had a girlfriend in this long, and it would also explain Sam. And this is where the misogyny comes in, because I think I should quote this. Let me actually back up. So this is Lincoln. How would that explain Sam? And this is the mom. Well, she wasn't very womanly, was she? She was plenty womanly. His mother wrinkled her nose and shrugged. She seemed boyish to me. She didn't have breasts. Oh, yeah. Okay. That right there, dear fictional mom, there is no wrong way to be a woman. Boo! Lincoln is coming across as homophobic. The mom is definitely coming across as homophobic and misogynistic. Wait, is that something on the... No, it's just the lighting? No, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Bonk. Oh, hey there. Captain's log. I haven't read much farther, but as usual, I have things to say. Short things this time, at least. So, in that small page of a chapter, Lincoln, he was essentially just thinking to himself, he's not in love with his job. He just is just kind of going through the motions, I think, until he will eventually change it, but that's other news. He had accepted the fact that he has to look into other people's private emails, but he had essentially set himself some boundaries. What did he say? Hold on, let me find it. Aha, here it is, because this will explain it a lot better than what I can do, apparently. Quote, Lincoln had told himself all along that it was okay to do this job, that it was okay to be a professional snoop and lurker, as long as there was nothing voyeuristic about it, as long as he didn't enjoy the snooping and the lurking. Well, he's gotten to the point that he's enjoying reading Jennifer and Beth's emails, and I guess he's told himself, boy, you need to stop, and I'm right there with you, boy, you need to stop, because background thing, he realizes that he's never going to give them any sort of warning like, hey, stop using work emails for your personal time. He's not going to give them a warning, whatever. He's not going to get them in trouble. So therefore, at this point, he should just stop reading their stuff, and I don't think he's going to. He's going to continue to be a voyeur on his own lonesome ship. If I keep making these updates every like less than 10 pages, this is gonna be super long, so I'm telling myself now, stop it. Prediction time, I suppose. I am kind of thinking that not only will Beth potentially break up with her boyfriend Chris at some point, I am kind of thinking that Jennifer might end up divorcing her husband, Mitch. I think it might be an amicable? Yeah, I think that's what I'm looking for. Divorce, because Jennifer doesn't want to have kids, and Mitch does. And from what I gather, Jennifer never thought that she would be the marrying type until she met Mitch, and they got married. So that went fine for both of them. And she never thought that she would want to have kids, and it seems that she is still on that track, that she doesn't want to have kids, although she really wishes that she was a person that wants to have kids, I think for the sake of Mitch, and Mitch, he seems like a good guy, but those are two very separate things. One partner wanting kids, the other partner not wanting kids, because Jennifer has definitely had more than one freak out. Like anytime she thinks that, holy crap, am I pregnant? She gets anxious about that. So they're not compatible in that department. And it's definitely unfortunate for any couple if any couple that happens to be in that situation where you're already married and one of them is like, nope, just don't want to have kids. It's just best if you're not together. That completely sucks that you have to get divorced, but I mean, you want very different things in your life. Yeah, just that. It sucks that I think that Jennifer and Mitch are going to get a divorce over this. And as happy as they have, made each other, that just not the right fit. Jennifer, you will find the right person to be with if you want to find a different person to be with later on down your life. Mitch, you will find someone who wants to have a child, and that is all okay. There's nothing wrong with Jennifer not wanting to have a child, although her mom apparently is, if Jennifer and Mitch do get a divorce, it kind of seems like Jennifer's mom is going to put the blame on Jennifer, saying that there's something wrong with her, that she's in the wrong for not wanting a child. And dear other fictional mom who is yet to be named, no. Yeah, that's another lesson right there. If a person, especially a woman, doesn't want to have a child, that is okay. Cool. Okay. just a guess, hopefully, again, since I'm thinking that eventually Lincoln and Beth will end up being together, I really hope my dude, Lincoln Light, I really hope that he will come clean to Beth that, yep, I'm the guy that reads the emails, yep, I'm the guy that kept reading your emails, and not just between you and Jennifer, but anything that happened to be flagged by the system, so other emails between her and other coworkers, that sort of thing. And yes, I had walked by your desk more than once. I've sat at your desk at least once. Yeah, because we don't want to lie, you know? We want to be honest in relationships. We don't want to lie by omission. Do we there, bro? So I've learned more backstory about why Sam and Lincoln eventually broke up. So, okay, if I've read all of this correctly, Sam and Lincoln were very happy to be together in high school. They were high school sweethearts. They were in love with each other. Sam seemed to be on board with this. They both went, they're originally from the Midwest, I think Nebraska, and they went to Northern California to go to college. And there was a chat a little bit farther back in the book where I guess Sam and Lincoln were talking about their future, and Sam was just very excited to go somewhere else, to start fresh. That was very exciting for her, and she seemed to be happy and on board with Lincoln coming with her. However, in this most recent part of this unfolding story...
Yeah, I'm going to summarize this part here. In short, during Lincoln and his girlfriend Sam's first semester of college, Sam was pushing Lincoln away, not spending that much time with them. She gives some bullshit reason that she doesn't want people to know that they, but really she, is an outsider because they're from a different state? Okay, Sam wanted a fresh start, and apparently Lincoln was cramping her style. When Lincoln asked, "Hey, why aren't we spending time together?" Sam kind of carelessly said, "This is what you get, take it or leave it." Sam is sounding lovely, isn't she?
So in summary, I've just learned why Sam and Lincoln broke up. It seems for an entire semester, why Sam had been distant is because she cheated on Lincoln. For an entire semester.
I'm going to summarize this part too. Lincoln caught Sam kissing another guy, Marlin or something, I don't remember his name. I got the distinct impression Sam would have strung Lincoln along for God knows how long before finally showing mercy and breaking up with Lincoln. Marlin or whatever seemed to know Sam was with Lincoln and that Lincoln didn't know about Marlin, so Marlin is also a real winner, folks. Sam was weirdly irritated by the whole situation, probably because she was caught and things were just generally not going her way. Boo-hoo, chica. Lincoln was rightfully heartbroken. He thought Sam was it for him, but Sam apparently doesn't believe in a first love lasting. I mean, that's not a wrong or a bad way to think, but it's certainly a big ouch for Lincoln. Lincoln was so in love with Sam, he was willing to forgive her months-long infidelity, but that clearly did not work out. I was honestly thinking, thank God. Okay, moving on.
So that was messy, and I do feel bad for past Lincoln. Good day, internet travelers. It's me. It's a different day, same location. So I think the first thing I want to point out is this book is 357 pages long. I have currently about 75 pages left to read. This is everything I've read. This is what's left. These two main characters have still not freaking met. I like slow burns, and this has been a, I think, well done slow burn, but goddamn, okay. big revelation. Beth is also officially a stalker. Her and Lincoln are clearly made for each other. So there's that. And how, you might ask? Well, she coincidentally, completely by accident, had bumped into Lincoln when he was at the cinema with his nephew, and obviously Beth was there, and she bought tickets to see a different film. She ended up following Lincoln and his nephew, following them into the movie theater to see what they're seeing. It was Pokemon, just if you want to know. She sat specifically 6 rows behind him the entire movie, and then afterwards, my folks, she followed him in her car until she lost him. Girl, there is a point where Lincoln does, by chance, run into his ex-girlfriend, Sam, whom he hasn't seen in 9 years, something like that. And I just want to say, woo, she has balls, because Lincoln, during this interaction, he's just kind of frozen there and isn't really sure how to just carry himself, what he's supposed to do, which totally understand, my bro. But this girl, Sam, oh my god, she kept, hold on, where is it? Essentially, she kept touching him at the very beginning. She was touching his chest, the arms, like I think she touched his neck and his cheek or something like that. And in my head, I kept on thinking, stop touching him, stop touching him, stop freaking touching him. I know you have a history, but remember, you got a messy history due to you. So I felt kind of angry on Lincoln's behalf. He handled the whole situation very calm, because that's just, again, pretty much how he is. And at some point, Sam says this: "We have to catch up. I've always felt that two people who shared as much as we did and shared such important years should never have drifted apart." Her voice dropped intimately, from stage to screen. "It just isn't right." Yeah, this entire scene rubbed me the wrong way, because the way she was acting towards him was everything was hunky-dory, that they left everything kind of hunky-dory, and she was clearly assuming that Lincoln had forgiven her. Yes, it had been 9 years, but at least thankfully at the end of the scene, at some point, like Sam hands Lincoln a card so he can get in touch with her, and then she leaves, and he was in a Blockbuster. Oh my gosh, remember Blockbuster, y'all? Once he steps outside, he throws her card in the trash can, and I'm like, yes, thank you. What am I trying to say? I've already said some points. Just simply, girl was a lot. She was touching someone. Again, I know you had a history, but good lord, personal space, ask permission, cool. So that made me uncomfy. Hopefully all of that was comprehensive. Yikes. Question: have I finished reading the book? Answer: no, but I have emotions, and frankly, I believe if you have some emotions, don't bottle them in, let them out, and so I'm gonna let them out. Okay, so we finally reached a point in the book that Beth and Chris have split. That was the book falling. Okay, how to summarize this?
I'll summarize it for you. At Beth's sister's wedding, Chris revealed to Beth that he loves her so much that he can never marry her because of it. He said that Beth is sometimes too much for him, that it can be tiring to love her. Boy didn't know when to quit, and also confessed that while he may consider marrying someone in the future, it just won't be Beth. Chris went on to say that he's just being honest. Girl, why you upset? I was questioning Chris's general intelligence during all of this. The next day, Beth and Chris chatted a bit more, and Chris was weirdly confused why Beth couldn't accept their relationship as it is. Beth was all, boy, you trippin'. I want to be with someone who loves and accepts all of me. Peace out, Boy Scout. And then I said, thank God. Okay, continuing on.
Okay, see you at some point.
Bonk.
Still feel mixed. And yeah, they did end up together. They accepted their history and just moved forward. I mean, overall, I still enjoyed reading the story. I think one of my main issues is just, yeah, how their relationship came about. It's not my kind of romance. I guess what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Thai iced tea. It's like the essence of the gods or something.
Bonk.
Let's just address the elephant in the room. Is that the right metaphor? Whatever. We're gonna talk about the romance of this story. I put it in the title of this video. I don't think that what happens between Lincoln and Beth is romantic. The amount of stalking that happens in this book, particularly on Lincoln's side, and even on Beth's, is not a basis, nor should ever be the basis for anything romantic to happen. For me personally, if I were in Beth's shoes and I found out a guy had been invading my privacy for months, and also, I'm wondering if off-screen Lincoln eventually revealed to Beth that not only had he read her emails, he sat at her desk at least once, would often walk by her desk, found out who her boyfriend is, and then started going to his concerts on the regular. Did he put all of that out on the table? But anyway, back to being in Beth's shoes. If I found out all of this, even finding out that this is a nice guy and hey, he loves me for me, no. I'm not flattered, I'm just disturbed and scared. It was definitely convenient that it turns out that, hey, looky there, the guy Beth has a crush on was Lincoln all along. She never knew that though, she never knew it was Lincoln. To be fair, I do want to acknowledge that she learned a little bit about her own mystery guy, who much later turned out to be Lincoln, had helped Jennifer to change her tire and comfort her as best he could when she was in a distraught state. So, a little credit. But again, for me, even learning Lincoln does have several good qualities. I can't see myself getting past the fact that Lincoln stalked Beth for months. I get why in the book Lincoln was okay with finding out that Beth did a little light stalking of her own, because boy would be a hypocrite if he judged her for it. We do learn that Beth was a little bit upset when she learned what Lincoln had done. I mean, once she understood who he is and all of that, his level of stalking was definitely longer and drawn out compared to what she did, but I don't know. They were both in the wrong at the end of the day. There was also the bonus layer of Beth being in a relationship when she followed Lincoln into a theater, then tried to follow him home in her car. Also, it would be negligent of me if I did not point out that Beth, in her college years, stalked Chris, her eventual boyfriend of 8 years, for a solid semester. Some of it may be coincidence, like when they were in the student union at the same time, but Beth did do some deliberate stalking on multiple occasions during that semester. This girl figured out Chris's schedule and would follow him to class. This girl tried to coincidentally meet Chris in the library for a month. In the end, Chris did notice this shady-ass girl and still wanted to date her. This isn't cute or endearing. I do not understand the acceptance of stalking in this book. I don't know, maybe Beth and Lincoln are meant for each other. This book tries really hard to paint this scenario in a way that, but look, people can forgive. People can still end up in a relationship from this. Well, I feel uncomfy. I don't agree with this. I'm repeating myself a little bit, but I think it's important to note that stalking should never be seen as a way to find and obtain romance. Yes, I get that this is fictional, but this book still ends up with these two characters in a loving relationship. Sure, there was conflict within the characters, knowing that they're doing something wrong, but they still did it. Particularly Lincoln. For months, he stalked Beth. I am never going to let you forget that. if the book had ended with Lincoln and Beth not together and some sort of repercussion happening to either of them, but especially Lincoln, then frankly it would have been a better story, at least for me. But because this story ends up all hunky-dory, and fictional or not, I just think that it's sending out the wrong message. Now, according to the Daily Telegraph on the back of this book, it says, quote, "A funny, touching portrayal of friendship, loneliness, and love in the digital age." Love in the digital age. There is a difference between two people mutually and consensually meeting on the internet from the start, and then there's what happens in this book. It's just stalking kids. I think part of the excuse to call this romance or just romantic in any way is because, Lincoln saw Beth for who she is and fell in love with her before he even knew what she looked like, because it matters what's on the inside, not what is on the outside. Nice sentiment, bro, and I do mean that genuinely. We should look at people for who they are on the inside, and their looks shouldn't be the dominating factor of whether you want to be with them or not. But let's not kid ourselves. We all have some level of shallowness, and we all do care to varying degrees of what our partner or partners look like. The fact remains, Lincoln discovered who Beth is through months of stalking. On the other hand, I'm sure some out there may argue, but it's just fiction. People should know better anyway. And I'm referring to people who at least view this book as I do, that I don't see this scenario as romantic. So saying something is fiction and people should know better, it's kind of a naive statement because people are and will always be influenced by fictional books, movies, and TV shows. We're not always aware that we're being influenced by fictional things because perhaps our outlook on a particular topic has changed in such a minor way, but it's changed nonetheless. I hope that makes sense. All right, I will give a break on that and let's move on to the characters. And there are quite a few characters in this book, but I'm going to stick to 5 of them because, I'm lazy. So let's start with our main dude, Lincoln. He's kind of a chill dude. He's definitely a passive character in the beginning of this book, just letting life happen to him, but he grows through the story. Now, setting aside the romantic stuff, I did enjoy seeing Lincoln take control of his personal life and his professional life. Good for you, dude. Lincoln is definitely the sort to completely throw himself into romantic relationships. He proved that with Sam. Broski was clearly broken up about that for many years after they split. It felt like his whole world had revolved around Sam when they were together, and that's not the healthiest thing to do. You do need to learn to be your own person outside of a relationship. I just hope that this time around he doesn't center his entire life completely around Beth, but I have hope and I have faith that he won't do that. So I don't know, I'm not really rooting for him, but okay, that's besides the point. Let's move on. Let's move on to Beth. Beth she's witty, she's outgoing, she is generally self-aware, except for when it comes to understanding that her pursuit of Chris and then later Lincoln, it crossed some boundaries. She's a pretty layered character. We get to see her good and bad traits and those in between. And I think that's all I have to say about Beth. Moving on to Jennifer. I actually have more things to say about her. Jennifer is funny. She's pretty smart. She's a good friend to Beth, and also Beth is a good friend to Jennifer. But Jennifer, she's kind of pessimistic, and I think her pessimism extends from her. She has a deep insecurity, which I think developed from her mom, who loved to shame her for her weight growing up. To all parents and guardians out there, don't do that. Now, I'm not sure how to touch on the complex and heavy nature of Jennifer's story, though I'm going to try just a little bit, kind of surface level. So, Jennifer did not like kids, did not want to have kids, but she went through with a pregnancy anyways. She didn't really come around to having a kid until she was about 2 to 3 months pregnant. Then she went through the horrible nature of having a miscarriage. Sometime later, we do find out that she does have a successful pregnancy and a healthy baby. I think I will say that Jennifer and her husband Mitch should probably have gone to some type of counselor, like couples counselor or couples therapy or even individual therapy, to work through, before Jennifer was ever pregnant, the fact that Mitch had the desire and the want to have kids while Jennifer did not. I definitely think that would have helped Jennifer just be in a better mental state to have kids. Yeah, not sure how to transition from that, but we're going to transition to Chris. Chris is the ex-boyfriend of Beth. They were together for like 8 or 9 years. Chris definitely puts on this aloof, cool guy facade, like nothing really phases him. But underneath that, he pretty much cares more about music than the people around him. He tends to be emotionally unavailable as well. I don't know. He's not a bad guy, but I don't know if I'd want to be friends with him for some of the reasons I just stated, like the emotional unavailability. But yeah, I don't know. You do you, Chris. You do you. Okay, Sam, let's move on to her. She is the ex-girlfriend of Lincoln, although that's not her only defining thing. Just stating a fact here. Anyway, she was definitely outgoing and kind of spontaneous, which I think were big parts of her that drew Lincoln to her. But overall, she's honestly kind of a selfish person, and to me she felt like the type to push people away or just completely drop them if they no longer had any value to her or held value to what she wanted in life, if that makes sense. Lincoln's mom and sister never liked her. I think it was just Lincoln. Alright, moving away from oh fudge, I gotta pause this too. Hold on. Okay, moving away from characters, let's get into the spoiler con list. Nailed it. Number 1, the romance, which I just talked in length about, but one thing I haven't mentioned was that after Beth had stalked Lincoln and had told Jennifer what she did, and Jennifer had been all, girl, that's messed up, and girl, you're right, Beth ultimately, justified and kind of brushed away her problematic actions. That bothered me. Number 2, the progression of Beth's infatuation with Lincoln before she truly meets him and understands who he is while still being in a committed relationship with Chris is, that's a gray area, very much so. But yeah, while she is still with Chris, she's pining over Lincoln. She's feeling jealous anytime she sees Lincoln just standing next to another woman, honestly. Beth, she gets to a point where she essentially labels Lincoln as hers. Okay. And of course that's, if it makes sense, that's where all the whole jealousy kicks in. Number 3, there's no true consequences for Beth nor Lincoln in the end. Both have friends who do point out that what they're doing is questionable, with a capital Q, but they're ultimately supportive, and this, it just bothered me. Okay, now on to some positive points. Number 1, I actually kind of already touched on this, but we'll go for it again. I am proud of Lincoln for becoming more active in his life. He made more friends, he went out more, just trying new things. He started going to the gym on the regular, was really into that, and he finally moves into his own apartment because he had been living with his mom. Just good for you, Lincoln. Good for you. Number 2, Lincoln's mom kind of started to loosen up by the end of the book. I think she finally accepts that Lincoln wants and should have independence, that it doesn't mean that he no longer needs his mom anymore in his life. Don't worry, Maureen, he's not abandoning you. Cool. Number 3. What was number 3? Alright, I was glad when Beth broke up with Chris because that had just been a long time coming. I think if Lincoln had not been in the picture in any way, Beth still needed to leave Chris. So, hooray for that. And okay, that's the end of that particular list. Now, this part, it's a little random, but there were a couple times, hold on, adjusting my thought. What? There were a couple times when Beth and Jennifer would mention guys that are in the spotlight, like in reality in our world, such as Matt Lauer, I do know who that is, and Brian Williams, I don't know who that is. Didn't know who that was. Anyways, and there was a third guy, which I don't remember, and they would ask each other, isn't he handsome? Looks, of course, are very subjective, but when I had looked up pictures of these particular guys, they were all just a bunch of average white dudes, but go hard, I guess, ladies. Okay, so in summary, do I regret reading this book? Not necessarily. It was an easy read, and I enjoyed some moments and some aspect of some of the characters. A winning endorsement, I know. I don't hate Lincoln and Beth, but I definitely think that they have some traits to work on. And yeah, I don't like that this book was painted as romantic, so I can't really recommend this book because of that. If I had to rate this book, I would have to probably give it 2 stars out of 5, even with there being a fair amount of good things happening in the book. The romance aspect just overshadows all of it, so 2 stars out of 5. And I had thought if this whole romantic thing had gone differently, not so gray area, so problematic, I think I would only give this book a 3 stars out of 5 because I liked it, but I didn't love it. I wasn't moved by it. It's a fairly simple book, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but yeah, just overall, nothing profound. So yeah, I would have given it 3 out of 5 stars if the whole romance thing had been different. So there's that. Alright, if you want to chat some more about this book in the comments section, if you agree with some of my points, if you disagree, let's talk about that. Let's have a cool, fun, civil conversation, and that's the end. We're at the freaking end. Give yourself a round of applause. Oh my word. Thank you. No, seriously. Thank you for making it to the end. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you are having a wonderful day, nay, a wonderful week. And yeah, okay, that's it. I will see you all in my next video. Okay, bye.